All right, here we go. The first ever Shill film review. And in true me fashion, I didn't pick a crowd pleaser. I didn't pick a classic. I didn't even pick something people have actually watched. Hey, Shill, I hear you cry. Why don't you review Weapons or that new TV show, Alien Afterbirth? Loads of people are shilling for that bad boy with its awful plot armor, subpar alien design, and once again sending the franchise into a spiral of law-breaking slop. No, I went for Rebirth, a film maybe that 7 people on the planet have actually seen. And of those 7, 5 left their living room feeling they needed to cancel their Netflix subscription and wash their eyeballs with molten soap. But hey, we're here now, so let's make the best of it. We're diving into a grim, clinical reimagining of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein / Reanimator. More so the former, without a severed head hovering at the downstairs of a kebab platter. Sheesh, if you know, you know. This film will ruin how you view breast pumps, prenatal classes, and possibly your entire morality belief system. If you're one of the 16 subscribers, welcome. Strap in because this ride is going to be as uncomfortable as a hospital gown that doesn't tie up at the back. Released in 2023 and brought to streaming by Shudder and dumped on Netflix in August, this twisted little gem comes from director Laura Moss. This is her feature debut, and if you've seen her short film Friday, you already know that being subtle is not her thing. That short, a teenage girl hanging outside Ted Bundy's execution like she's waiting for Weatherspoons to open up on a dark, dreary Sunday morning. It's a dark little gem that asks the viewer not to look at the obvious evil in front of you, but the evil that lurks in the shadows. A bit like the UK government right now. Moss is fascinated with obsession, how death worms its way into our brains and how people just cannot let go. Rebirth takes that obsession and distills it into one long sterile nightmare. The film delves into the dilemma of the meaning of life, but never dwells on it long enough to bring the film to a creaking halt. This serves the narrative in such a satisfying way. All right, mild spoilers ahead, folks. Now, the story follows Rose, played by Marin Island. She's an emotionally detached morgue technician, but that's not to say that cracks don't appear in her hard exterior, but very quickly seal up as the narrative goes on, and she has to play her quote unquote mad scientist role. Opposite her is Celie, played by Julie Rees. Yes, that's Carla from Scrubs, but this isn't Scrubs. There's no witty Zach Braff voiceovers or heartwarming lessons set to indie rock. Instead, Celie's grieving over her dead daughter, which technically she did dump on her neighbour when she needed to go to work, but unbeknown to her, her daughter was seriously ill. Celia's about to find out how far she will go when grief takes control. Rose sees this as a unique opportunity, pulls out a suitcase, loads her body in, takes her to her home, and the unthinkable happens. She manages to bring her back to life. This isn't the green glowing mad scientist is alive resurrection. This is body horror science. The child survives, but only through constant upkeep, blood, tissues, fluids, all stolen from unwilling donors. Rose is keeping a dark secret, but a secret she needs to keep. It's Frankenstein stripped of fun, no bolts, no lightning, just endless medical procedures and a creepy realization that somehow this works. So both protagonists are now locked into a nightmare of keeping it working by any means necessary. How far will they go? What will it cost? And will it be worth it? Maryland as Rose, terrifically perfect. She never plays it like a villain. She plays it like someone who doesn't see people as people, only as body parts. She's desperate to be a mother, but she finds the idea of female biological reproduction distasteful. She's obsessed with its clinical processes, gestating materials in her own body in order to discover a way to do something that, well, let's face it, God wouldn't approve of. Julie Reed's role as a maternity nurse is the real heartbreaker here. Her performance is raw, aching, and so human. She's the mother who will do anything to keep her child alive, and then you realise what anything actually means. And the suddenly once pure character that was put on the planet to help other expecting mothers does the unthinkable by the time the credits roll. The actors' dynamic is incredible. One woman addicted to science and preservation, the other is addicted to her daughter's well being at any cost. I do admire how their dynamic evolves, role swap, intertwine, and there is a distinct lack of nuance between the two characters by the end of the film. This is really, really good storytelling. And then there's the sound design by Ariel Marks. Nope, I've not heard of her before either. So let's not pretend we are composer experts here. She's done some work on Black Mirror and a few other things that I've not heard of, but, well, she has my attention. The score is basically a low drone or maybe even a groan. It hit me really early on and gave me an unsettling feeling that added tons of atmosphere and foreboding to the story. The film heavily borrows from the DNA from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but there is a reanimator theme running through there. There's no neon goo or severed heads or chaos. Moss strips out the colour and says, what if the science worked? What if it wasn't fun? What if it was just slow and medical and clinical, all fueled entirely by grief? Reanimator is chaos, rebirth is control. And honestly, sometimes that control is scarier. Chaos is messy, but the control is very suffocating. This film isn't for everyone. If you're here for splatter and jump scares, you may find it a little bit too slow. If you're here for philosophy and something from the bard, it might pull on a nerve and it might be too gross. But if you want psychological horror that really sticks and lingers in your grey matter, then this film is for you. For me, a solid 8 out of 10. Disturbing, relentless, and a hell of a debut from Laura Moss. I am excited to see what she does next. If she keeps the story simple, has a clear, thought provoking message throughout, she might be well on the way to another winner. That's unless Disney sign her up to make a live adaptation of The Frog Princess. Sheesh, now that would be something. Oh, and before I forget, do yourself a favour. Once the credits roll, watch the first 5 minutes of the film again. You will thank me later. And that's it, the very first Kill Shill review in the bag. If you made it this far, congratulations and a big thanks as you've doubled my average watch time. Grab yourself a nice cold Ribena and give yourself a big pat on your sweaty back. One last thing, if any of my subscribers get the urge and have the means to reanimate a corpse over the next few weeks, please do yourself a favour. Make sure you get consent from the corpse. You never can be too careful.